Hey, what's up? So, Frog Fraction's still happening. We're gonna just go and uninstall, reinstall our targeting computer, the targeting HUD, whatever it's called, a couple times while we play through the game. So, obviously, you know, I didn't want to say it in the other video, but Frog Fraction's having a bit of a laugh with us. It's kind of a funny game. It's kind of a game with a bunch of jokes in it. And I know you went and played the game. I told you that you should go and play the game. So I believe y'all that you went and played the game. Now, I adore Frog Fractions. I played it back in 2013, early 2013. I believe this game was released late 2012. And it really, I was like, oh my god, this game is wild and amazing. It's really funny. I enjoy it a lot. It's just a good time. If you're wondering why I keep going through these waves instead of just buying everything since we have like a billion fruits, it's because we can only purchase one upgrade at a time. And I just want to see how many of these targeting things of installing and uninstalling until the game gives up. While I just kind of talk a bit about Frog Fractions. I mean, we're going to be doing a full playthrough because I like this game. I want to get a full playthrough up on my YouTube thing, so I can cherish it for forever and for always, just in case, for whatever reason, Flash is being discontinued. And I don't know, I assume with Flash being discontinued, you'll still be able to, Flash is going to work for a while. It's not like it's, oops, I clicked off the screen. It's not like it's going to, be discontinued and immediately stop working, but it's only a matter of time, and I believe that this is, in fact, a Flash game. I mean, I assume that somebody has went and... because you can download Flash games. I don't know how to do it. I mean, I assume you just get a piece of software to do it. Predilection. I missed a key there. I assume you just go and you can find a thing that would rip the code and whatever, and it would just work. Heterophony. That's what people call me. Damn. Heterophony. But I enjoy this game. I find it to be fun and funny. And it's just man, I'm doing bad. I think I typed psychic, psychosocial instead of, I think I got an extra thing in the heraldry. Oh, I missed a thing in there. Heraldry. Heraldry. Please go away, bugs. I have so much indignity. Putrefaction. It's just a good game. It's a game entirely built around jokes, which I can tell you. I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything throughout the course of this video, just in case you didn't heed my warning and go play it yourself. But it is just a game entirely based off of, well, what's the next joke I can make? There are two good Upholstery. There are two good documentaries on the No Clip channel where they interview Jim Crawford, who's the head developer of Frog Fractions and Frog Fractions 2, because there's a sequel, baby. Just interviewing him, talking about the process of how Frog Fractions happen and stuff. They're good watches. You shouldn't watch them until you've played the game, or I guess if you did not heed my warnings, I guess watch me play it, because they'll spoil the jokes and stuff. And especially for Frog Fractions 2, because Frog Fractions 2 is an insanely interesting game, and there's just a lot of interesting things around it. So let's talk about Frog Fractions 2 and its creation, because I have no idea how many times we're going to have to uninstall and reinstall this damn thing. So Frog Fractions 2. I believe the Kickstarter was in 2014. I'm not entirely sure about the timetable, and I'm not here to recap the documentary or what you can find on a Wikipedia page. What I do want to say is it was interesting because there was oh, hey, Frog Fractions 2, here's a Kickstarter. And I was oh, hot damn, I loved Frog Fractions, so of course I'm going to support Frog Fractions 2 as a Kickstarter. But the Kickstarter pitch is wild because it's not oh, hey, I'm making Frog Fractions 2, here's some of the things. It's completely out there, pretending as if there was a child development software thing or something. It's a wild video. You should look up the Kickstarter pitch. I believe that the documentary does go over a lot of it, but the idea was there was a bit of abstraction to the Kickstarter thing, like, what you would expect from Frog Fractions. If you play through this game's all about like subverting expectations and like how you can do jokes. Like it's a funny game filled with funny jokes. So the Kickstarter kind of followed in that vein, but it also kind of kept up an air of mystery and was like, hey, a big thing with the Kickstarter was that they wouldn't tell you when the game was done and out. Like you would just, it could come out and you might not know that it's out. Like this was a big thing behind it. Oh God. Just maybe I should just like lose this to see what happens. Look at bed. So it was like a big thing, like, oh hey, I'm not going to tell you when the game comes out, but it will come out. And like a big thing was like, hey, you should be looking actively for Frog Fractions. And that ended up like paying off because Frog Fractions 2 was released, but not as Frog Fractions 2. And I won't tell you what it released as. If you Google Frog Fractions 2, it'll immediately spoil you on it. So there's not really, post-launch, it's kind of impossible to keep that like, oh, well, I need to hunt for Frog Fractions. But, I won't tell you what it is just in case you find a way. But if you Google Frog Fractions, it'll basically tell you which game that it's hidden in, because they hid Frog Fractions, and it is hidden. It's not like they released Frog Fractions and just gave it a different name. It is hidden in a different game, and it's amazing. And a big thing with that was there was the search for Frog Fractions. So to create like a search for it, it wasn't just like, oh, well, we'll create the game and not tell you. There was also an element of you should be looking for Frog Fractions. And the way the developers facilitated that was with an ARG. There's this huge ARG like that was like touted as like, The idea of the ARG was, at the end of this ARG, through completing this hunt, Frog Fractions will be released. And spoilers, like this wasn't like Whistling Dixie. This was like true. There was an ARG, the ARG was kind of wild and all over the place, and there wasn't an ultimate plan for it. But the ultimate plan was, once the ARG was complete, Frog Fractions 2 would be released upon the world as the Dreadlord. That was me trying to be funny. That's not a spoiler or anything. That was me making a bad joke. Frog Fractions 2 would be released at the end of the ARG. And they went through with it, even though, it was just kind of like, it seems like a lot of the ARG stuff was off the seat of their pants. Like, oh shoot, what do we do now? And it's just interesting. A lot of wild things happen. They go over it in the No Clip documentary. So it's a fascinating watch, very, very interesting, and I highly recommend it. But like I said, you should play Frog Fractions 2 before you watch the documentary, because it will, spoil like a lot of the game for you. And it's definitely a game that you should play. Oh, oops! I've once again clicked off. It's just so interesting. There's nothing like it. Because, and I don't want to crimp too much on the style of like what the documentary will tell you, but Frog Fractions isn't developed like from like the mindset of like, oh, here's a game and let's think about like game design and et cetera, et cetera. It is designed not from the ground up. Like, I mean, I guess to crimp a little bit from the thing, it did start as like a legit like Jim Crawford is just like a game developer or whatever. And before this, like they had just done like a couple like assorted things. And at one point, oh my God, it goes to the other side. I was hoping it would, but I guess we'll just keep going. And once I run out of things, we'll cut ahead and then start playing the game in full. Jambalaya. I should know how to spell this one. I make jambalaya all the time. Actually, it's been a little while. I've kind of swapped to making gumbo more often than jambalaya. Cowpoke. That one I know. I live in Texas. I know how to spell cowpoke. Performative, which is exactly what I'm doing right now, being performative. And I definitely can type super good. I'm just doing it bad to be funny. Gravimetric. I have no clue what that means. Gravimetric. What was I saying? Like something like the Frog Fractions wouldn't be released. It's a game that you need to play. I don't remember what I was saying in the slightest. The stupid joke of the thing going to oh, I remember now. It's a game developed with like jokes first instead of like gameplay. So it is just like going from like set piece to set piece. Like, oh, what's the next joke I can make? And it's very interesting to see a game develop that way instead of like, oh, well, let's think about like core gameplay and tiddlywinks. And like think about core gameplay and like how like systems like interplay and et cetera, all the gameplay stuff you've heard people smarter than me talk about. It is developed like as jokes, but it did start life as like frog fractions. Like, this was a game about a frog that was like to help you teach learn fractions, I think. No, actually I take that back. It wasn't frog fractions from the beginning. It was like just like a oh god, what game is it? Missile Command? I can't remember the name of the game. It was like kind of a rip on, but it was basically Missile Command or some other game whose name I've forgotten. Like just a version of that with frogs. And then at some point Jim Crawford realized, like, oh wait, this is kind of boring. This is just, this isn't an interesting game, and just went like wild with it, and it became Frog Fractions. And that's, I've already crimped a lot of the not a lot of the documentary, because the documentary is like 30 minutes for each game. So there's a lot of interesting things in there. That was just like something I wanted to say, because it's a very interesting game, and we could maybe get to what's so interesting about it, but I had to see the stupid lock-on thing. I'm committed to seeing this joke through, so I'm just gonna keep playing until we've seen them all. Okay, so it's truly the end of an era. I know it looks like we can still purchase this one, but if I purchase this disappears. This one unlocks, just allowing us to cycle through purchasing and unpurchasing it. So, because I've spent so long doing this instead of moving on to the jokes, let's just read all of the lock-on targeting uninstall options just to see what they form together. This eyeball-installed auto-targeting HUD helps you make a glowy red list of bugs you hate, which is all of them, because we're a frog, we hate them. The chicks don't dig on cyborgs, and it makes looking bugs less fun anyways. Get the surgeon to uninstall it. I sure do miss lock-on targeting. It was pretty sweet. So sick of lock-on targeting, it just doesn't have the friction of going natural. Automation is what separates us from the apes, if you think about it. And as a frog, being separated from an ape, very important. Manual targeting is more fuel efficient and faster. Lock-on targeting frees me to focus my attention on the things that actually matter, like my kids and deciding which bugs need to die first. Studies show that manual targeters live longer and happier lives. You know what's awesome? Waffles. I stayed in a hotel with a waffle maker in the lobby once, and it was amazing. Oh man, I could go for some waffles too. Is IHOP still open this time of night? Yeah man, I think so. Anyway, worst case, we could get some frozen waffles at Max's. It's open 24 hours. Awesome. Let's get out of here. I'm still right about the lock-on targeting, though. Nuh-uh. Why are we still talking about this? Because the frog hasn't made the changes necessary to reach the next level of upgrades yet. Oh, when do you think he'll be able to? When do you think he'll be able to? That's how a normal human being would say that. Hard to say. Maybe he's just too comfortable with the status quo. That's understandable, when all you've known is the womb. The outside world is scary. How can we encourage Froggy to move on? Should we? Are we really sure of ourselves enough to impinge on his free will? I mean, wouldn't he be better off? We can't be sure of that. Maybe he'd just be miserable, and like they say, you can't go home again. You're right. I'm not ready to take on that kind of responsibility. But you are willing to repeatedly give him the hard sell on the unnecessary surgery on his increasingly fragile brain to install lock-on targeting, right? Perhaps I've been too confident about my point of view. Haven't we all been, on occasion? Too right. It's a very human thing to do, isn't it? It's important to respect your nature, but it's also important to realize when your nature runs in opposition to the person you want to be. Well put. Thank you. So I guess you can buy lock-on targeting if you want. And if you change your mind, you can remove it again. But we will no longer change our mind. We have, like a billion fruit, 8 Zork mids. So we should be good. But so let's see the rest of the should we? Well, we'll look at the rest of upgrades at another time. For now, we have a warp drive to use. Oh, actually, the music's not working. I've played for so long, the music's not working properly anymore. So, guess what? I'm gonna play Frog Fractions again. So I kind of laughed at the turtle and the dragon not adding much. Like, what does moving actually add? In fact, moving kind of causes an issue, since like once you can move, like the bugs start attacking you, which like makes the game just a little bit more difficult. But it actually does serve a mechanical purpose. It isn't just like, hey, this is kind of a jokey thing that seems like it'd be useful but isn't. Once you can move, you can collect the ripe fruits that fall that aren't underneath your head. it's very easy for me to kind of overlook the fruits because I came in knowing like, hey, there's like a billion fruits just beneath us. Once we get the turtle, we have access to that. So I collected it with the turtle as opposed to the dragon this time. I just collected it with the dragon previously. Not to spoil the joke, for just doing a laugh and pretending along. That's why the videos are split into two. So like there's just like me playing Frog Fractions and now me playing Frog Fractions, as it were. So this game's just filled with jokes. It's entirely built basically on like, what would be funny if it happened now? And it's just an interesting thing. Like Frog Fractions 2 is, despite being very similar, like, types of jokes and kind of like build up payoff, it's the same kind of humor. It was developed very differently. It wasn't developed this way of like very linearly, like, okay, well, what'd be funny if that happened next? Like this Frog Fractions 2 was made, I guess, a bit more traditionally from the sounds of it. I mean, I can't say. Like I watched a documentary once. I don't know the entire development history. It sounds like Frog Fractions 2 development was just a little bit more straightforward as opposed to this one. So, like you're doing Frog Fractions, you're in a pond, you're frog eating bugs, then you go into space and you fly towards Bug Mars, defeating bugs as like, now we have like Star Fox like allies like talking to us. And now we have like a Gradius like shmup boss attacking us. We have like this Metal Gear Solid-esque song, and maybe it's just that there's a lady singing very soulfully. Just kind of gives me a Metal Gear vibe to it. Not much more than that. Just makes me think of like The Best Is Yet to Come, and stuff like that. But now we have the Gradius boss. And this boss is great, because we have to use our tongue to, obviously lick it. But now it exposes the core. The only way we have to interact with this game, the only attack we have, is to lick it, of course. But we lick it, and it immediately arrests us. It wanted us to lick it. And now, we're being sentenced for our crimes. We're in trial. This is our judge. Mr. Hop, the charges against you are severe. You're accused of breaking and entering into our native habitat, Bug Mars, with the intent to purloin our delicious space fruit. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor. Not guilty, Your Honor. Amphibious, Your Honor. You've got the wrong dude. My name is Mr. Leap. Has anyone ever told you that you look delicious? Oh God, I'm surrounded by bugs. Well, amphibious, Your Honor, of course. Huh, are you sure you don't want a lawyer? These charges carry a minimum sentence of 20 years hard labor, but there's a special offer this week. How do you like to become a naturalized citizen of Bug Mars? Absolutely, I'd love it here on Bug Mars. I've never been to a buggier Mars. You drive a hard bargain. I'll take the labor. I don't know. What are the hours? How do you feel about bribes? If you'll just reach into my front pocket. Get them off. Get the bugs off. Well, I have never been to a buggier Mars, it's true. Excellent. All you need to do is pass a test on the history and culture of this fine planet. Shall we begin? Our bug flag has four bug stripes. What do they represent? Persistentalis. I don't remember how to say Synodotia. I don't remember to say it. I'm an idiot. Bugs. Crushing our enemies and our powerful mandibles. Protecting my precious space fruit from your goddamn commie space bugs, Your Honor. Hate bugs! Well, obviously crushing people and our mandibles. I was joking about like capitalism and stuff. And we get a fraction for that one because we answered it so well. I was joking about capitalism in the other game, but as a fellow communist, I would never get on these bugs. Commie deal. I enjoy the bug commies. I can almost feel their bones breaking now, in reference to crushing them with their mighty mandibles. Next question. On the series Bug Jersey Shore, what is Bug Snooky's favorite flavor of ice cream? This was made in 2013. Vanilla, cookie dough, bug. Trick question. Ice cream is unheard of on Bug Mars because of the climate. I don't, really watch TV, Your Honor. I think they're in my hair. I can feel them crawling around. Well, Bug Mars is ice cream is unheard of on Bug Mars because of the climate. We get another fraction. Well, I had to try, didn't I? 420 bugs ago, Bug in Chief Bug Thomas Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Bugs that we are blessed with the inalienable right. With which inalienable right? It's a question. The right to bugs. The right to own sentient space fruit as slaves. The right to refuse to testify against your hive mind in court. The right to parade around the court in only your knickers. How the hell should I know? I'm a frog. Oh God, bugs everywhere. Yeah, bugs are kind of everywhere. During the War of Bug 1812, General Stonewall Bug Jackson held off the nefarious Frog Armarder single-handedly. How many mecha frogs did he crush under the wheels of his Mercedes bugs? Enough to reach ground. We don't know. They hadn't invented counting back then. 420. I swear. I counted them twice. That's not just a pot joke. None. He didn't learn to drive stick until after his divorce. They bite. Oh, they bite. Oh, they bite. Well, he didn't learn how to learn how to drive until after his divorce. That's pretty obvious. What a nasty breakup it was. All over the tabloids for months. Last question, Mr. Hop. How do you feel about fractions? I was told there'd be no math in this exam. Oh man, I love them. They're an intuitive way to represent non-integer value. I'm actually leaning slightly towards scientific notation these days. I don't know. I've never really dealt with them. I think my chair is made out of bugs. Am I made of bugs? I think chair my bug? Well, we love them. I'm guessing that the E was the scientific notation. I'm guessing that's what's happening. I know, right? Fractions. I'm impressed, Mr. Hop. Yours is the first perfect score our fake naturalization program has ever seen. We're going to fire you into the sun, but instead, we've decided to issue a work visa. If you'll just sign here. Yeah. F yeah. Fist pump. YOLO. Bugs. YOLO. Everybody loves a novelty signature. Just ask Bug Hancock. Okay, so we should sign real nice and fancy. Well, we're Mr. Hop, and the P is going to be hopping away, and I've excellently detailed that, I'm sure, and we'll just do some like ukulele rare, like we'll just put some like little eyes on it, if I can give it a tongue, because this is very important, you know. Bartholomew Cillian, we're Mr. Hop, thank you. We're a shittin donor, I don't know what that is, but you know, maybe give ourselves a mustache just for fun. And here we go. We've been sentenced to hard labor on Bug Mars. Now we have Wave Mars, and now we can play the game again. Now, obviously, you and I, we know that there's a secret to this. We've played this. You've played this game. You know that there's a secret to this. And even if you didn't, we've played so much of this style of gameplay. We know what we're supposed to do here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and see if this wave has an end, because I've never just sat here and waited for the wave to just pass by. I assume it'll take us back to the upgrade screen eventually. Is the idea. You know, it'll function like the previous waves. I've just never been sure because I always just leave. To purchase Merv Tongue. Okay, well we have our work visa, and now we could like try and start like saving up for like the PR department and stuff. But how do we get Zorkmids? Who knows? It's unclear. But we're gonna say no thanks. We know the secret to this. We gotta go underwater. I almost said underground. I mean underground, underwater. Who cares? It's all the same. What is ground? But hard water. Probably never thought about that. So Fire Fractions is just a delight, you know, going from gameplay style to gameplay style. It's fun. And now there's an essay happening, and I don't want to continue crimping on the essay, but you know, this is a wild like thing, and I'm going to keep talking over it because I expect you to have gone and played this game yourself. I'm not going to give you this moment of levity. Normally I would be like, well, someone's talking. I should just, you know, I should shut up and let the game do the talking. But you know, it cuts in, cuts out. And also you've played it, so you've heard this speech before, and it's a wild one because it's just speech about the history of boxing. And it talks about boxing as if like, oh, well, punching wasn't always a part of the sport. Punching was designed later. Originally, like if I recall correctly, it's been a couple years since I played this game in full. Originally, boxing existed as like the fight, like you like had to bore your opponent or something. I don't remember, but it's just a wild, fun essay about like this fake history of boxing. And I remember it being pretty funny. I haven't, like I said, listened to it in a while, so maybe it's not as funny as I remember. Maybe there's some rank shit in there. I don't think so. Jim Crawford seems like, where the hell am I? Seems like a decent person. So I'm hoping that there's not some rank shit, but this game's old, and I definitely said produced YouTube videos that have some rank shit in it in the year 2013. So I mean, it happens. We all grow, we all learn. But I think we came this way. But it's just a wild thing, and like kind of listening to it. Like I said, I haven't listened to it, so I'm not entirely sure about the contents, but I remember it being like real kind of like random humor, like, oh, well, punching didn't always exist in boxing, so, they like bored each other. It's just something like that. Like slightly random humor, but I do remember it being enjoyable, not like just straight up like, ugh, what are you doing? This isn't a joke. You're just kind of just saying shit, which I've definitely been, I was gonna say accused of. More so, like I've definitely done a lot of that. Like I did YouTube parodies, for God's sakes. I mean, a lot of what would have constituted as random humor in that video, I had a thought process behind it. It wasn't just monkey cheese random. Although a lot of the thought process was basically, in retrospect, useless, and it might as well have been monkey cheese, nonsense. But what I was trying to say about this essay is it's a wild thing that it's just like, oh, well, Jim Crawford, whoever else worked on this, he's kind of like the head dev and kind of, gets his name thrown around a lot. But there are other people who worked on this game and its sequel. It's just Jim Crawford's the one I know. And he was the one who wrote this essay. So we're talking about Jim at the moment. It's just a wild thing that, it's just like, oh, yeah, you just wrote a weird essay for this walking simulator portion of the game to kind of like, not exactly lampoon walking simulators, because he is a fan of them and has talked about it like, oh, well, people talk shit about walking simulators because there's not a lot of gameplay, but there's more going on than just gameplay. There's like atmosphere and like the story and like, this kind of like, environmental like stuff, like blah, 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 blah. Like, there's more going on there. But this is kind of a parody of like a walking simulator where you have this like weird, like deep, like essay like being read at you on the background, like, eat shit, Jonathan Blow, you dumbass. Although I don't know if he's ever really, well, I was gonna say really done a walking simulator, but I mean, the Witness is like the Witness. Very decent puzzle game with some unfortunate accessibility problems, filled with some dumb philosophy garbage. Whatever. But it's what I'm trying to say about this essay is this was just something that Jim had written at some point, and then when doing this was like, well, what do I put in the background of this walking simulator section of the game? It was like, oh, well, I have this essay on boxing, I suppose, that I guess I'll get someone to read and just put it in the background to kind of, I guess lampoon the series that he, by the way, does not hate, and I do not hate either. It's just the game of jokes, so let's like make some weird jokes, and that's what's happening here. I mean, I probably shouldn't be getting defensive about it, but it's just funny to think that this dude just happened to write this at some point and was like, yeah, I guess I'll throw it in. He didn't say whether or not like this was a serious essay or not. I don't think it is. I don't remember the contents of it, but I remember it being like, the premise is like, punching didn't always exist in boxing, so of course it was probably a joke that he just happened to write, and I could sit here and go, well, why did he write something like that? But I mean, I did YouTube parody, so sometimes you just write something because you think it'll be funny. Sometimes there's not more reason than that. But it's just a fun, good game, and like I said, like it was designed as jokes first and gameplay like later. Like the entire joke becomes like the whiplash of we were just in a walking simulator and now it's time for a text console text adventure game. It's fun, it's good. Now let's play the text adventure, and we'll go ahead and put our frog down in the bottom corner because we don't need it. We just need our keyboard. Is that it? The rumbling seems to have stopped, and you feel the intense downward pressure let up. After a moment, you calm down enough to start taking in your surroundings for the first time since the seemingly dormant vessel sprang to life. Command module. The walls of the circular room curve to meet at the point that must correspond to the curved nose of the outer hull. Lining the walls, you see, I almost said linking the walls, and I was like, what the hell does linking mean? Lining the walls, you see a porthole, a glowing display, and a control deck. A ladder leads aft. Well, before we leave the room, let's go ahead and just look around. And before we look around, actually, we'll go ahead and type help so we can learn all of our commands, because it'll be useful to know the commands that we have. Okay, so we can look around. Let's just look, examine ball. Let's examine ball. That was just an example. There are no balls in space. Oh, darn. I should have known. We can check our inventory with I. We're not holding anything. We could get wrench. No wrenches in space. Should have known. We could push button. Oh, there was a button to push. Help me. I didn't actually want to push that button. We could turn knob. There are no knobs in space. We should have known. There were stairs there, so we won't do that. But we could enter the phone booth, and you can probably guess there are no phone booths in space. We could pour orange juice into glass, but once again, there's no juice. I almost said there are no juice. There's no juice in space. Just some good jokes. Okay, so what's next? Actually. What was there? There was the porthole. There was the display. So let's look display. Look display. A glowing green display shows a map of the galaxy with a destination you don't recognize marked, and an ETA of about 3,000 years. Looking closer, you see 2 on-screen buttons labeled Route Details and New Destination. So let's just Route Details. The screen spills forth a slew of steps, such as spiral spinward at the Spathi system, far faster than you can fathom. What if we do look route details? I remember there being the route details button pulses softly as though it wants to disclose some details really badly. And we can do a new destination. We do new destination. The nav computer dumps you into an interface so obtruse. Does it say abstruse, not abstruse? Abstruse? It probably means obtruse? What am I? Abstruse. That before you even consciously process what's happening, you've hit the back button and you're at the main map again. We can look new destination. The new destination button pulses softly as though it's just as sick of the current route as you are. Well, not much we can do here, so let's climb the ladder. The ladder goes aft, so we will climb ladder. Captain's quarters. This looks like an all-purpose living area. A sleeping pod sits next to a nightstand. A ladder leads to the fore. An oriental rug lies in the center of the aft wall. Move rug. Moving the rug, you discover a recessed hatch below it. Your score has gone up by 2/5 of a point. Don't forget, this is still a frog fractions. Fractions still matter. We're still learning them. They're still very important. Our score is still going up. Maybe. We've been told our score is going up at the very least. Okay, so before we leave this room, I wanted to move the rug just because it was the most striking thing in here. Let's look pod. The sleeping pod looks like a bed with a lid, but you have to assume it's got some sort of suspended animation functionality. I mean, right? There's a hole in the top next to a gauge. Reading empty. Let's look hole. The sleeping pod. Oh, okay, yeah, looking in the hole just repeats that. Let's look nightstand. The nightstand offers a single drawer, which is closed. Look drawer. So open drawer. You open the drawer, revealing a thick manual. Read manual. Manual with an U, because that's how you spell manual. It's a manual for the navigation computer in the command module. After leafing through it, you feel confident you understand how to use the interface well enough to set up a route back to Bug Mars. Nice. So now we can go mess with the command module. So let's climb stairs again. Go back to not climb stairs. I always get stairs and ladders backwards. I don't know why I do this. You know, I was part of, I guess, Phoenix Wright stuff for a long time, thanks to the Abridged series I did. So I don't think I ever made a ladder joke in that for whatever reason. But, you know, there's like a whole ladder versus step ladder. But my dumbass gets ladder stairs mixed up, not as a concept, but their names. I don't know why, but I do that a lot. Okay, so look display, new destination, because we've read the manual now. You definitely plot a course back to Bug Mars. The engines roar and you feel G-forces shift. The ETA reads 57 3/5 years. You run a diagnostic and determine that the vast majority of the time is going to be spent going through bug customs. Luckily, you can sleep through most of it, and our score goes up by 3 1/3 points. Okay, so now we will climb the ladder, not the stairs, because there are no stairs in space, but there are ladders. Now we will climb the hatch, going into the hatch. Climb hatch. Oh, the hatch is closed. Open hatch. I didn't realize we had to open it. You have to work it. You have to work it a bit, but after you give the wheel a few spins, the hatch pops open. So now we can climb hatch. Maybe we could say enter hatch, but I'm going to assume climb works. Engine room. Nearly every surface in this room is covered with a pink sticky pink goop. I don't know why I read that backwards, which seems to be thicker near a gray machine sitting in the corner. Almost it's thicker than a gray machine. I was like, oh, that's a weird joke. A hole in the wall exposes a nest of wires. There's a hatch leading back to the cabinet's quarter to the fore. That's where we came from. We don't need to worry about that. But let's look at the goop. Look, goop. A thin coating of sticky pink goop covers every surface of the room. Eat goop. You're not hungry. Drink goop. You're not thirsty. We can do neither of those things. Okay, so let's look machine. Since we can't eat that tasty sticky pink goop, the machine consists of a spigot aimed at a flat platform. A handwritten sheet of paper has been hastily taped over the base of the platform. Let's read note. It's the out of order note. Okay, so so it says this is the out of order note included in your game package. I'm not sure why it says that exactly. That's a bit of a confusing line of dialogue to me. But what we need to do is, can we do take tape? You rip the tape off the machine. The note comes with it, revealing a control panel. Look, control panel. We could probably just say look panel. Most of the control panel is rendered unusable by the sticky pink goop. You see a row of what looks like radio preset buttons, but all but two, which are stuck. All but two of which are stuck. There's also a big red lever. None of these are legibly labeled. Let's pull lever. The machine whirs, dispensing mom's specialty, a voice says. Pink goop streams out of the faucet, splashing against the flat platform and getting everywhere. A couple drops land in your mouth, and you recognize the flavor. Bacon milkshake. Atmospheric anomaly detected. A different voice says. A whirring sound ensues, and the bulk of the goop is sucked into invisible vents, leaving just enough goop floating around to be gross and annoying. Atmosphere purified, the voice says triumphantly. Okay, so let's push button. The raise button clicks into place, and the previously selected button pops up. Local currency, says a robotic voice. Let's pull lever. The machine whirs, dispensing local currency, a voice says. A thick stream of Zork mids shoot out of the faucet, bounce off the flat platform, and scatter around the room. Take Zork mids. You spend a few minutes gathering up the scattered Zork mids. Your score has gone up by 1/3 of a point. Now we have dough. We got more Zork mids than the Zork mids we started off the game with. So now maybe we can get some of those other upgrades if we ever see an upgrade screen again. Okay, so let's go ahead and not back out. Can I say look wires from here? Look wires. Peering into the exposed machinery, you see what looks like an empty coffee can that you're guessing doesn't belong there. Okay, so we'll take can. You twist the can and it eventually comes loose, but you've ripped the installation off of an adjacent wire in the process, and it begins sparking as it comes into contact with the adjacent strut. You glance down at what you've taken. It really is a coffee can. Well, what we're going to do now, I know what to do because I've played this video game before. We're going to place can faucet. I think that's enough words to as place can spigot. Let's look panel. Let's go ahead and put ourselves over by the panel. We put ourselves by the panel. Place can. Place can. If I say faucet, am I in the right place now? I need to figure out the right word for a faucet. I'm spelling faucet right. Place can dispenser. Look spigot. I'm gonna need to figure out the right word for this. Oh, here we go. I had to put the can under the faucet. Put can faucet. I assumed all the keywords would be there, but no. We have to put the can under the faucet. This is a delicate machine. It is very sophisticated. It's sophisticated and delicate, and it knows that we had to put it under the faucet. Obviously. Okay. So now that we have done that, let's push button, which will swap it back to Mom's specialty. We can pull the lever. Dispensing Mom's specialty. The machine says a thick stream of pink goop streams out. It mostly gets everywhere, but the coffee can does end up filled. You grab the can, and then it does its thing again. So now we got a can. We have tape. Oh, actually, we should look wires. I think we can use the wire on tape wires. I think you wrap the tape around the bare wire, insulating it. Yeah, we had to tape the wires as well. Okay, so I think we've done everything in this room. We can climb hatch again, which take us back to the captain's quarters. We can look pod. Pour can in hole. You bring the can close to the hole, and the hole sucks the pink goop right in. The nearby gauge fills up. Enter pod. You lie down in the sleeping pod, close the lid, and drift off secure that in 57 and something years you'll return to Bug Mars, a wealthy frog. When you wake up, you're clearly not in your sleeping pod. You blearily glance out to get your bearings, and you appear to have been sleeping on a heart-shaped bed covered with roses. A voice comes from the next room. Awake already? A wispy human figure in a bathrobe and a crown walks in. She bends over and kisses you on the nose, and suddenly you feel your body shifting. Yay! She laughs and claps, and you realize you've been transmogrified into human form. And now, it's time to go back to what we do the best, and that's playing Frog Fractions. But unfortunately, we've been transmogrified into human form, and our dinky human tongue can do nothing. Even once the bugs are within our range, nothing happens. But luckily for us, you awake with a start. What a horrible dream! You call your friend Draggy, the flying dragon, just to talk to someone. Yellow? Draggy says. I just had the worst nightmare. You explain the situation. I'm not sure that a support group for human bug eaters is really going to get much of a following, Draggy ponders. Maybe if we drummed up a little publicity first. I know, just the PR agent. 5 minutes later, Draggy shows up at your door, dressed to the nines. He tosses you a frog tuxedo at you. Put this on, babe. We're running for president. And now, it's time to run for president. What allegations do we have? We're not a natural-born citizen. We're under 35. We're a frog. How are we supposed to become president of Bug Mars? Well, there's only one way, and that's to show them our moves. So this game, it's designed like you just go from like one wild thing to another. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at DDR, but luckily this isn't very specific, so I can kind of just hammer keys and not die. I don't know if I ran out of score if I would die, so I'm kind of just pushing keys, hoping for the best. 'Cause I'm not good at this. I wouldn't be much better with my actual human feet because I'm a little uncoordinated. I'm kind of clumsy, but this is a game just completely designed with like, oh, what would be funny if that happened next? That'd be funny, right? Like, oh, we were just in a text adventure. Now it's time for DDR. It's a good game. It's funny. You all know this because you played it, and I trust you. I asked nicely for you to go and play the game. I gave you a link. I gave you all the clues, etc., etc. It's just funny, and it's just so good. You know, it's like, oh well, you end up trying to run for president. How do you become president? DDR. It's good. They're good jokes. The good jokes is what I'm saying. It's a game of good jokes. It's interesting to see a game designed with, oh, well, what'd be a funny joke, and then do something to land the joke, as opposed to like, you know, not to be rude to this game, but like, what would be a good gameplay thing to happen? And this game really lands like, oh, well, how do we do funny jokes and have good jokes? And look at this great art here. I love, in fact, I'll move my frog cursor off the screen so you can see the great art here with the very real credits for the very real end of the game. It's just good. It's an actually funny game. A lot of games, when they try to go for fun, like comedy, they totally like just biff it and aren't funny. You know, it's an entire thing. Like, there's a lot of like unfunny games, like Borderlands. I don't care for Borderlands. Other people might, but I kind of find them unfunny. And also, I just don't enjoy the gameplay So I mean, it's just fun to have a game that is actually very, very funny. I enjoyed a lot. I love that picture of the frog with the crayon. The art in this game, like that like style, I enjoy a lot. I think it looks pretty good. There we go. That was Frog Fractions.
Here's your bug coffee, Mr. President. Heavy on the cream.
But not exactly, because we ran for president. And now we're president of Bug Mars in the Bug Oval Office. So now we have an economy simulator because we're the president and we run the economy. And the Bug Mars' bug economy persists off of bug porn. We have 2 million Zorkmids. It costs 10,000 Zorkmids to produce a megabyte of bug porn. Now, unfortunately for this game, this is a economy simulator, and the economy here, as you can see, it's deeply entrenched in capitalistic values, and I am a communist. I don't care. The bug porn should be free. Oh, I produce no bug porn. Actually, no, I'm a prude. I'm a communist and a prude. I think no porn should be produced, and it should be free. The bug porn censors are working well today. There are no bug porn. There will be no bug porn available at Bug Retail. The bug porn censors bought all your bug porn at lunchtime. Well, I accidentally produced no bug porn because I was so excited to be a communist that I was like, I'm not going to charge anything. How many Zorkmids do I want to? I want you to print a bunch of Zorkmids. We're going to tank this economy because I don't like this economy. Our indignity is so high, probably because of that human segment. But now we can come in here and we can continue to purchase upgrades. I didn't actually purchase all of the upgrades throughout playing because I was just, since I had to replay do that sound issue, I just like about static cling to make it easy and then just kind of went for broke. Work visa, which we have installed. You're only in the country on a temporary basis, and you're going to have to give it your all while you have the chance. PR department, the well-trained team of marketers ensure that the public has the correct impression of you. Dance shoes designed for the professional dancer. These low-rise slip-ons have a 2-part rubberized sole for maximum control. Voice modulator. The consistency is always more impressive. The constituency is always impressed by a deep, booming voice. Our surgeons are on call 24 hours a day to give it to you at a moment's notice. But there's also bug drugs. Drugging the water supply will pacify delinquent bugs, keeping them off the streets and out of trouble, and not coincidentally staying home and watching bug porn. So we're here we're supposed to be here to play into capitalism. And how much bug porn do I want to make? I want to make 50,000. Do I have enough for that? No, we don't. I wasn't going to do the math. I'm a math minor. I don't have to think about math. Okay, so we made 5,000 megabytes of bug porn. We will provide no banner ads, and the price of bug porn will be free because I will not have this capitalism tip. I am here to destroy capitalism. I will produce as much bug porn as I want, and it will be free. Superb performance made today. Today's bug porn, too hot, the warehouse burned down. Well, that's a shame. You hate when your porn is so hot, the warehouse burns down. And of course, because we're trying to crash this capitalist economy, we're just going to keep printing money. We'll purchase another upgrade, sure. Meteorology satellites. A system of satellites to help your meteorologists provide more accurate, precise weather. Well, that'd be nice because their predictions have been kind of bad up until now. I mean, as we can see, it looks like it's red and cloudy out there, so I think it's right. Notice an outbreak of frog STDs and porn actors is driving our production costs up. Well, that's fine. They can have as much money as they desire, because I'm going to produce 5,000 megabytes, bug porn, no ads, and it's free. Thank you. I mean, I'm tall, so having an impressive wingspan isn't actually that impressive. But, whatever. The in-house bug porn musician decided to make bug smooth jazz today. Nobody's quite sure what to make of it. Bug seemed unaware of porn today. Well, the porn is free. The porn is free. I'm taking the economy. I don't see why they're not interested. Maybe because of the meteorology. Now, this is a great joke. So these locks, obviously they represent we can't get the next thing. Like, we can't uninstall our lock-on targeting because I never bought our lock-on targeting because we did a whole lot of that in a past life. And this is a great joke. Like, I know this is a game of great jokes, and sitting here and explaining a joke is bad. But this next one is just a padlock. We're purchasing a padlock. Padlocks. Adding padlocks to bug porn storage warehouse should cut down on shrinkage considerably. And I believe we need the padlocks to continue. I don't care if people steal bug porn. I'm giving it away for free. Who cares? But we'll purchase the padlocks because we had to. So We'll pretend that we care about the economy. How many megabytes of bug porn? 5,000 once again. No ads. It's free.
Just be yourself.
Well, all right. I'll do that. The in-house bug porn musician decided to make bug contemporary blue. Oh, this is the same one. I thought this would be like a spin on it. Like, I mean, it's a different music style, obviously, but it's the same joke, unfortunately. Yep, we're not doing good, not making a profit, but our assets just keep going up. Somehow, it's like rich people could just get more money, and it's not a problem. They don't really need it. But we're not doing it because we're rich and greedy. We're doing it specifically to tank the economy, so we can, I mean, tanking the economy wouldn't not the way you do economy. I'm having a bit of a laugh with this fun game. Okay, I'm having fun. This is the closest I'll ever get to being able to pull one over on capitalism. Presidential swimming pool. This heated pool provides a familiar wet environment in which the bug president can relax. And we'll just, take a nice little break. No, I took our frog off screen, but, we want our frog to have a little friend with him. And this frog cursor, by the way, I know, I shouldn't explain jokes, but this frog cursor isn't a part of the game. I went and downloaded a frog cursor so we could play this game. And now I don't know, I have the heart to change my cursor. I kind of love this frog cursor. But, we have this presidential heated pool. We could just take a little break and go back to our job. But why would we do that? Because we know the secret of these things. We come down here, and this ends the game. I believe this is the real actual credits this time. Because, it's a credit with actual people telling you who did the things. Jim Crawford did a lot of them. But the other credits we got, the fake credits, they're fake credits. They're not like we're getting credits for like Draggy Ceiling Eater as himself and Mr. Hop and all these other characters who we never see. But it's not fair to call it a fake credit sequence because Banjo-Kazooie does the same thing and it calls it like an enemy parade, and it's a very useful thing because without the enemy parade, the pre-credits credit sequence, how would you know a Collywobble is called a Collywobble? And that would just be just a darn shame. How would you know that Gremlins are Gremlins? It would be, bad to not know these things. So I'm glad that we got that previous credit sequence. Now we get the credit sequence showing us who was involved in the development of this video game, and we get to see this hot bug porn we've been producing. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't have a problem with it, and even does, I don't care. I don't monetize any of my videos. I'm not here to make money. I'm here to just, I guess, upload videos, not to cast shade on people who do YouTube to make money. It's I was gonna say viable, you do what you gotta, but YouTube as a job thing, it seems scary to me, and I'm very impressed with the people who make it work, and also very disappointed with the people who abuse it. There's a lot of weirdos, a lot of alt-right neo-Nazi assholes who kind of just abuse a very abusable system because tech companies are shitty dipshits who are in on it on the alt-right and et cetera, neo-Nazis, blah 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 blah. You've heard this from people smarter than me. You get it. Everything's bad in the world nowadays, but in this bad, terrible world we call our home, there's Frog Fractions, and it's a good, fun time. And I enjoy Frog Fractions a lot. It's fun. The jokes are good. It's a blast, and it's fun to see a game designed with jokes first and gameplay facilitating jokes. It's an interesting thing to see. So this game does have a sequel, Frog Fractions 2. You can very easily Google Frog Fractions 2 and find it where it's hidden and immediately jump in and play Frog Fractions 2. I highly recommend it. I supported the Kickstarter. I waited a couple years for the game to come out because I believe it came out near the end of 2016, so it took 2 years. That's actually pretty reasonable for game development standards. But not to say taking longer is a problem or making a game faster. Games take time to make. It's more what I meant. I just couldn't remember how long it took. But you can go play Frog Fractions 2. I highly recommend it. It's a game you do have to purchase. This one, is a free Flash game. You have to purchase Frog Fractions 2. But it's totally worth it. I've purchased Frog Fractions 2 twice. I supported the Kickstarter, and then Limited Run Games did a physical version of Frog Fractions 2. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my holy god, I need it. So now I own a physical copy of Frog Fractions 2, which is amazing. I enjoy it a lot. I have I don't buy a lot of collector's editions of games just because I don't really care. But it is my crowning crowning achievement. Not my crowning achievement, but it's my favorite piece of my collection is what I meant to say. It sits atop my Breath of the Wild box, which I love the limited edition Breath of the Wild box. Not because it's like great or anything, but because it's fucking massive. The Breath of the Wild limited edition box is so big. I wish I had the Master Edition because the Master Edition box looks very nice, but I wasn't awake at like 11 p.m. or whatever when they put them on sale, and then I missed out, and now I'll get mad about that from time to time. But it's very funny how large the box was when they handed me the limited edition Breath of the Wild thing. I was like, this is a joke. This is a display thing. In fact, my friend Steve got it even better because he'd ordered the limited edition one. They gave him a copy of the normal one, like normal Breath of the Wild, and they handed it to him and said, "Oh wait, no, you had the collector's edition." They took it back from him, then handed him that one, and it felt like a skit out of a thing. So I'm glad him and I had the same experience. I mean, his was obviously funnier, but we had the same experience of like, this is a display thing. This isn't the game. There's a limited edition Frog Fractions thing. That's more what I would say. You get to the end of the game, and now we have a sound test so we can hear all the sounds, listen to all the music we love. We can get our ass to Mars. Which one's the... Oh, Eyes Open's the credits. I was looking for the one that I said sounded like a Metal Gear Solid song. Maybe it's Aqua Petzoid? Get your ass to Mars? Not entirely sure. We'll just listen to Rimshato Bungee Jump. We can come down here. We can listen to the sounds that the game makes. I'm not too worried about that. We heard all the sounds. We played it in its entirety. So Frog Fractions 2 is a thing you can do. And the reason I've been stalling is because I wanted to say is I hit a key for Frog Fractions 2 throughout the course of this video. I haven't edited it in. I don't know how difficult it will be to find. I won't make it too hard because I'm not super-duper mean, and I'm not desperate for you to have to scrub through this video a bunch. So it probably won't be that hard. But I did hide a key for Frog Fractions 2. So you can have your own little ARG of, I guess, looking through this video, which now that I think about it, it's kind of a shitty thing to do because, like, I get the views if you do that. I don't entirely understand how that works. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't do the shit because of views. If I cared about views, I would do better marketing or whatever. I don't know. It's just a fun thing I do. But there's a Frog Fractions 2 key in here. So if you're willing to look for it, it's there and you can have it. Let me know if you get it in the comments or whatever. And even if you don't, Frog Fractions 2, you can go purchase it. It's pretty easy to find now. So go play Frog Fractions 2. I adore Frog Fractions very obviously. It's fun. It's funny. I enjoy the game a whole lot. So that was Frog Fractions in its entirety, not a fraction of Frog Fractions.